Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about the chaos of holidays, right? And how we start manifesting illnesses, anxiety, and overwhelm leading up to holidays, right? Because we're going to be around our families, and some, if not all families, are toxic in some way. If you've been on a healing journey, you've maybe moved through some of those toxic traits, and it's triggering when you are back around your family, or friends or people that bring that out in you, right? So I just wanted to,
Why? Because you're thinking about
yeah,
how I make myself sick every single, like Thanksgiving.
yes,
Thanksgiving, I get sick this past year. I don't think I did that,
no.
but for the previous years, every Thanksgiving for a solid 10 years.
So Kristina and I lived in the same apartment house, and she lived downstairs, and I started to notice a pattern that 2 to 3 weeks leading up until Thanksgiving, she always got sick, and she was making herself sick, like the cold, a flu, like legit full on cold symptoms and flu symptoms. And by like, I think the third or fourth year, I was like, hey, babe, I just want to acknowledge, let you know that I've noticed this pattern that legit you make yourself sick leading up to Thanksgiving, because she was going to be around family members that it was giving her anxiety. So, and not saying that your family
No.
makes you sick, it was the stress, the anxiety, the overwhelm of being in a situation where you were going to be potentially re-triggered. So then you would get sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every year.
Every year.
It was really cool to watch, though. I think ever since I said that, though,
I try to pay
tapered
attention.
it down.
Yeah. I paid attention and try to like focus on not getting sick and like recognizing like, oh, this is starting to trigger me. I need to let that sickness not settle within.
Right. Well, so you wouldn't stress out. I think
Yeah.
you had better practices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And just a sidebar, if people aren't familiar, that your body actually holds the score. So say you went through a traumatic experience at a specific time within the year, 4th of July, or like a specific month. If you had a severe breakup, say in like February, and you were traumatized and it was Valentine's Day and like
Yeah.
all the things, your body knows that every February you would potentially have a reaction, because your body holds all that energy. That's been
a trauma response.
Yeah, trauma
and
response.
It kind of sits in your DNA almost,
Yeah.
right? And then it'll start to pull up again
Every year.
every
Like
year.
the body knows. It's so cool and
Creepy.
yeah. Because you're like, oh, it's 4th of July again. Why do I feel weird?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, 1986. Forgot
This is
about
what
that.
happened.
Yeah.
My hand was blown up by firework. I don't know. I lost my hand during the 4th of July. Sorry. And then it might happen.
That might. We are talking about leading up to the holidays and how you can protect yourself, how you can have awareness to not potentially get yourself sick or put yourself into a situation where you're going into a holiday event, social setting that you're already ignited with, like ready to react, right?
Yep.
So what have you done over these years to de-escalate yourself from?
Well, I think you put what you pointed out, self-recognition, right? So realizing that, just paying attention to like, where are you in the calendar year? What are things that have happened in the past? And just paying attention and being able to like say, okay, taking that step back, breathing through, and reminding yourself that this is really just your body reacting to this, and you don't have to take that part on, whatever that stress is, whatever that is, because it's not about, it's the situation. And is it really a feeling that you need to work through also? I think over these past couple of years, I haven't reacted because, or haven't gotten as sick. Still feel like I get a little sick because I still have that anxiety and that stress level that comes up through that time. But it wasn't as bad as like I was bedridden for years leading up to.
Weeks leading up to Thanksgiving. And then it was like all of a sudden days before you'd be fine and you'd cook everything. And then you'd be sick after.
and then I'd crash. And I think that that's just like my cells were reacting to, right? The stress.
You were stressing
I was
yourself
just
out
stressing myself.
weeks in advance.
Yeah, I
And you
made
didn't
myself
know.
sick.
You didn't even know.
Yeah. Once I had the recognition, it was easier to just kind of react to and pay attention to and just breathing through it. I honestly don't know. I think it was just for me, it was like paying attention and recognizing it and then stopping it,
Practicing.
calling it out and being like, not today, Satan.
Right. And I think, there's so many levels of this. Like, if you have a severely toxic family, you've done your growth, you've been on your journey, you could even just not go.
Yeah. And that's a hard, like,
and that's,
yeah, I think as you get older, we go back to choose your choices, right? You can choose how you're going to spend that holiday. Do you have to go to the holiday with your family? Because there was a year that I
think there was
lied.
They're going to know now.
I lied and said that I was doing something else that was like good for humanity, but it legit was just me staying home because I did not want to go. Like I said that I was volunteering and doing all this stuff, which is, I'm sorry. Like, and
I would have been like, I just ain't coming.
And I couldn't do that. It was the trauma. Like I didn't want people to judge. It goes back to like the judgment of them and what the reaction would be and my fear of how my family would treat me. And I chose to lie, but it was for myself to take care of myself.
Right.
Right. And it was good. Like I was glad that I decided to just not go.
Right.
Because I was like, no, I don't want to. And I don't think I got sick that year, or at least I don't remember getting sick that year. But yeah, I lied. I'm a liar sometimes.
Should be forgiven by the universe. But I think that's a really important point to make, that wherever you are, and this is for anything, I think like your friends invite you out and you're just like, nah, this is what boundaries are too.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to every event. You don't have to go to every party. Right. You know what I'm seeing with my clients and their kids? It's very common, I think, to be invited to now it's like everyone's included. And they are exhausted. They're exhausted. The parents are exhausted. Their children are exhausted. And they're like, we're just saying no to a good amount of stuff, unless our children are like letting the children actually decide, which I think is nice.
Like, how do you feel about this? Do you want to go?
Is this your best friend? When we were little, we had birthday parties and it was like 6 people. Yes. Sometimes we left some of the class out, but it was
all of my class out.
It was an intimate, right?
Yeah. It was always like 5, 6 people.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Right.
You'd go to the roller rink.
Yes.
That was my favorite.
Right. Yeah.
It was doing birthday party at the roller rink.
Right. Kids, you guys are missing them.
Yeah.
We used to roller skate,
birthday party, but it was I could pick who I wanted.
Right.
Now, granted, I was also a different person. Like, even as a kid, I had a very select few friends. Right. So I didn't have tons of friends, but there was never that pressure to invite the entire class.
Right. Or like, and it's not about inviting the entire class. It's about what you think you should do and what you should do to make sure that you have healthy boundary. If you are too tired, you don't go. If you're just like, the other thing is intuition, I think. So like sometimes intuition is just like, you're not supposed to go here. You listen to that. I feel
it's those gut reactions. And I think that's true. Like that gut feeling, that gut, just the thought, whatever, it's always right. It's always right.
Mm-hmm. And you listen to it.
And if you choose not to listen to it, that's okay too. But, start to pay attention to that. Like if you had that reaction, if you had that thought and you still went and did, how did you feel after? And then just you curb your decisions after that.
Yeah.
Because I choose to go to my holidays and not say anything. But then it got to a point where I'm like, no, like I need to take care of myself first. Self first.
Yeah. And So I guess we have a couple of categories. Choosing to just not go and like be in contact with your family, that's totally fine because you
Mhm.
can have friends and that are your family. I do believe that,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Um, and you evolve, so
Yep.
things are different. And then there's this, if you are going to go to a family function, family holiday party, preparing yourself. So
Mm.
making sure leading up to it, you're not in all the chaos of the text messages and the phone
Mm.
calls or the who's having Thanksgiving this year and
Potential
so and so
drama.
did it that year and like I want to do this and I want the kids to do that. It's like, babe, let's just eat.
Right.
Thanksgiving is my favorite because there's no responsibilities. You just eat food and there's no pressure. Christmas,
There's a lot of
there's
pressure.
lot
I know,
of
like,
reasons why I don't care for Christmas, but it's so much pressure.
yeah.
There's so much pressure. But yeah, the having and potentially setting boundaries like the year before. Hey, next year we're not going to host.
Mm.
Hey, next year we're going on a cruise. Hey, right?
Yeah. I have friends that have chosen to do cruises for Christmas now
Yes,
because they're like, I don't want to deal with the family.
right,
And not deal with the family, just the chaos of and the stress of
right.
the holiday.
And I am seeing this thing of like the how do you say that? Like macro family, like just your immediate family you're doing
Yeah.
more with instead of doing it
It's
with
your
the
immediate.
extended
Yeah.
family. So
Yep.
like, right, families will take them and the kids on
Right.
like go on the cruise or take a vacation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is totally fair. I think is cool.
Yeah.
As long as you're eating good food.
Yeah. I think it's important so I think thinking about the holidays that are coming up, have you been triggered in the past? What are those things that
Mhm.
have triggered you? Just kind of reflect a little bit and take a second to think through what it is that you may or may not have liked. Also, there's a lot of people that just love the holidays and they love that chaos and they just dive head first and don't even care. Like they're
Right.
just like, "Woo, this is a good time." But a lot of us are triggered. I think there was something else that it just dawned on me. One of the pieces that I do remember, it was through therapy uh, leading up to one holiday. I was stressing about it, and I told my therapist about it, and she's like, what are your expectations?"
Oh yeah.
Right? So my expectation was always been that Hallmark type of holiday, right? So think about your perfect, like any of those shows, any like a show or a commercial where everybody's super happy and just loving and dead, dead, dead. And she finally said, she's like, that's not real. She's like, that is made up for TV. Sometimes that's just how it is for some people, but sometimes it is just it's a stressful time and it's okay if your situation is. That I remember her telling me that and feeling like, okay, my holiday doesn't actually have to be perfect. I don't have to have I had these crazy expectations of everybody holding hands and like singing songs around the Christmas tree kind of thing. And that just wasn't what I was feeling. I didn't feel that. And I didn't, because there was a sadness and
Yeah.
like,
So like you judging and like judging that it
it was a
wasn't
self judgment also on it. Like, oh, I'm not meeting these expectations. So letting go of those expectations and thinking through like every day is a new day and it's just a day. Ultimately, it's just a day and an opportunity to hang out with your family, friends, whoever, share a meal and presents and whatever, and go home. Because tomorrow you're going to wake up and it's just going to be another day.
you know what? That's such a great way to look at it because I think back in the day we used to dress up for holidays and now it's just
I'm not, yeah,
no.
I'm going to just wear sweatpants.
And like maybe a pretty girl shirt, but like stretchy pants or
Right.
because we're just legit. It's like another Sunday at
It's just a day.
yeah
It's
with
just
extra
another day.
food with extra food, right? Oh wow, I didn't even think of it like that.
Mm.
That's a good one. And it's yeah. Do you think it's beneficial for people to give themselves grace during this, like during the holiday season, and even their family?
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point of everybody reacts different. Everybody has their own experience. We're each individuals. We have our own experiences. We have our own past, and you never know what somebody else is going through at that point. Not even family, just anybody, everybody. If you're in the store, TJ Maxx, think about how people are like bananas in
Yeah.
TJ Maxx and Home Goods during the holidays.
Right.
It's so stressful.
So stressful. Right. People are not okay right now. I think another good point is that even though your mother or your family is behaving in a specific way and you're like, I can't stand it when they do XYZ, yeah, all have the same programs and patterns because it's learned behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you're seeing in them, you might hate about yourself. So then it's like you having to, it's a mirror, right? They're mirroring your insecurities, they're mirroring your triggers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it is. Until you heal that within yourself, then they no longer can trigger you. Because if you're constantly pointing the finger at somebody else, just get in front of a mirror and point it at yourself, because that's really the only person that you should be worrying about. So when we go into these, and this is where I get this is your full responsibility.
Mm.
We can go into these holidays and be like, so and so is going to behave like this, and they always say this to my kids, or they always X, Y, and Z. Really, you getting into this place of full sovereignty of, and I get it, it's not that easy to do all of these things, but if you continue to practice and you change who you are and you heal those things, your family actually, I've experienced, I've done a lot of healing on my limiting beliefs, and to watch my family change with me, and I don't have to say anything to them. They just change, and now they meet me where I am. It's pretty awesome to watch. So if you want your family to change, if you want your partner to change, if you want your kids to change, and it's them, you do the work on yourself and they have to match you.
Yep.
I'll just leave it at that.
I love that.
Right. All right. So we're going to wrap it up here. Hope you all have a great holiday and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.